Strategy implementation. This is what we will be talking in today's video. Welcome everyone. Strategic implementations. What is the meaning around here? Please refer to the process of executing plan. Remember, implementation is all about executions and strategies. Now, these process aims to achieve our long-term goals within the organization. So, strategic implementation, in other words, is a technique through which a firm develops, it utilizes, integrates new processes into the structure of an organization. Basically, an execution of the work, execution of the plan, execution of the strategies that has been formulated prior to it. The process of strategic implementation is building an organization that possesses the quality and the capability to put the strategies into action successfully. So everything not should be remain in the drawing board. It should not be in the planning phase. It need to see the light of the day, and that is what an organization's ability and capability is, to put those things into action. Supplying resources in different quantity to strategically essential activities is the crux. Developing policies which encourages strategies. Such policies, such programs are employed which helps in continuous improvement. Combining the new reward structures for achieving the result thereof and using strategic leadership then and there as on when on basis. We look towards the formulations and probably the implementation of strategy thereby. Remember, the policies, the programs are employed on a continuous improvement basis. Now, this is where we are talking about the strategic plan and the evaluation control. Remember, we are supposed to look it from left to the right of exactly what is happening around here, from the strategic plans to the implementation process. Now, what are we looking into it? We are looking into achieving strategies as far as project implementation, procedural implementation, and probably resource allocation is concerned. Thereby, these things are only going towards managing change, structural implementation or leadership implementation. And last but not the least would be the effectiveness and managing thereof, the functional implementation and the operational implementation. So once you've completed the work, you will be looking at evaluation and control. So strategic plan process, once implemented, executed, be it project wise, procedural wise, structural wise, leadership wise, functional wise, operational wise, it all leads to the completion or achievement of the organizational goals thereby. So I'll just mention certain studies that have been that have captured my attention. I thought I should share it with my audience. It is possible to turn strategies and plans into individual actions necessary to produce excellent business performances. But is it easy? Not at all. Many companies repeatedly fail to truly motivate their people to work with enthusiasm all together towards the corporate aim. Most companies, and in fact, most organizations know their businesses well, the strategies required for successes. However, many corporations, especially the large ones, struggles to translate theories into actions that will actually enable the strategies to be successfully deployed and probably sustained. Here are some leading edge methods for effective strategic corporate implementation. These advanced principles of strategy realizations are provided by the very impressive foresight leadership organization, and this contribution is gratefully acknowledged. Most companies have strategies, but according to the recent studies, anything between 70 to 90% of the organization that have formulated these strategies have failed to execute them. This is what is the surprising thing that needs to be taken care of. Everything looks spick and span on the paper, but when it comes to see the light of the day, the execution part, it fails miserably. A Fortune magazine study has shown that 7 out of 10, that's 70%, remember, of CEOs who fail do so not because of bad strategy but because of bad execution. In another study of the Times 1000 companies, 80% of directors says that they had the right strategies, but only 14% thought they were implemented them well as such. So that means dismal performances. So the nature of strategies is all about implementation in terms of strategy formulation, is positioning forces before the action. Strategic implementation is managing forces during the action. Strategy formulation is focuses on effectiveness. Strategy implementation is focuses on efficiency. So look at that fine nuances between the strategy formulation and implementation, the planning stage and the execution stage. Remember, formulation is a part of positioning the forces, whereas implementation is managing the forces. Formulation is part of the effectiveness, whereas implementation is on the efficacy or the efficiency thereof. There are six types of successful strategy implementation. Number one is communication goals. Look what we are looking into it. Clearly identify, align the goals and key variables of your strategies. Step number two is engaging your teams. Create forces among your team and drive accountability by designing works. Step number three is to evaluate or probably execute your plans. Now, what we look into it is allocate necessary resources, put your strategist plan into action. We are going at a full throttle out here. Step number four is stay agile. Shift your gears, shift your goals, shift your approaches to work around the unforeseen issues that you might not have accounted for. Step number five is get closures. Connect with everyone, the stakeholders I am precisely wanted to say, involved in the project to confirm that the work feels complete. Step number six is to conduct retrospective or look, monitor, control, reflect on what the implementation strategy, uncover lessons learned for the future prospect as such. Now that is what strategic implementation is all about it. Right from the vision to strategy to implementation, all about accountability, deadlines, and ownership. Lest everything should be monitored on a real-time basis. So model of strategic implementation resources is very simple. We are talking about activating strategies, managing changes, achieving effectiveness is what we should go for. Right. So that is what we are looking at it. Remember, we have spoken about project, procedure, structure, leadership, behavioral, functional, operational implementation, and these needs to be taken into consideration. So allocation. Now we let us talk with the resource allocation. Remember, until and resource has been optimally allocated, can you achieve the goal? Can you achieve the objective? Probably not, because if the resources are not deployed, how do you expect implementation go smoothly? So the process of dividing up and distributing the available limited resources to competing alternative use that satisfy unlimited wants and unlimited needs thereby. Resource allocations are central management activity that allows for strategy execution. Strategic implementation enables resources to be allocating the according to the priorities and establishing their annual objective then and there. Now, what are we looking at it as far as resource allocations are concerned? Now, we might be looking at strategic plans of an institution, strategic projects, or probably with strategic initiative of an institution. Now, remember, these institutional plans are part of your program plans, as in the program review, annual departmental planning. Now, these are only in pen and paper, in black and white. But have they been executed? Probably not. So once executed, we are looking at financial forecast, budget projections, annual development, executions, and that is it. Once this has been done, we need to understand where the resources has to be allocated. I again repeat financial resources or financial forecast, budgeted projections, annual budget development, and you know where it is to be done and how it is to be done. So factor affecting the resource allocation. What are we looking into it? First and foremost things are let's say the knowledge of the activity content, the available budget, the common coordination and integrated quality, the project priority, the resource constraint, and the schedule uncertainty is what we need to fight it out. Now, everything needs to be allocated as on when on basis on the most likelihood of what when it is going to be utilized. Remember, I've just given an example of a healthcare. Now, factors affecting resources allocation and healthcare. Let's say there might be patient, there might be a person who are completely uninsured, there might be this they might have some access to health services, they might be looking at government or rationing healthcare or healthy people by 2020, and this is what we look forward as far as strategic implementation is concerned. Remember, implementation considers that the vertical and horizontal differentiations, integrations of roles and focus functions. balancing centralization vis-a-vis decentralizations of decisions in organization with a view to achieve superior performances. Vertical differentiation refers to the distributions of decision-making authority resulting in flat, probably tall, structures depending upon the span of control and chain of command. Horizontal differentiation considers dividing the people and grouping of the task into functions, divisions, teams to meet strategic objective of the organization as on when on basis. So structures for strategies, matching structures with strategies is change in strategy lead to changes in organizational structure. Reason for changing structures is structure dilates how policies, probably objectives will be established. The structure dilates how resources will be allocated. Let's say we are talking about customer groups. The structure might be suitable for approximately n numbers of firms. Growth of the organization leads to the change in structure. Definitely, as an organization grows, so the demand would be, so the operational size would be, so the modus operandi changes drastically. Structures can shape choices of the strategies. Yes, we look into strategies, and strategy is something the debate will always go on and on and on. Which should come first? Should structure be first or should culture be first? How do we go around it? So it depends on the management philosophy and the centralizations or decentralization, as the case might be. We are looking at structure, so it might be a production system. Had it been looking at culture, it would be a person oriented or leadership oriented. So production system would be high or low, job autonomy. Layer cultures would be types of leadership, people centered and bottom up on the task oriented and top down. We're talking about the HR system, controls or commitment, design of department, teams, jobs, tasks, as on when on basis, the employee involvement, the management, the engagement thereof, the quality of working life, quality of organizational performances, and innovative capability, as a case might be. This is exactly what we are looking at it. This is what we should entail with the passage of time. So techniques of strategic evaluation and control. Techniques, there might be two: strategics, which is on a longer term basis, and operational, which are much shorter term basis. Remember, strategic is all about momentum control. Strategic is all about leap control. Strategic is all about positioning yourself, and it is looking way ahead of time. So type of controls as far as strategics is concerned is premises control, implementation control, strategic surveillances, and special alert control. Again, I repeat, it is your premises control, it is your implementation control, strategic surveillances, and special alert control. So now let us move forward to the emerging trends and what we are looking into it. The top five emerging trends, if I may say so, driving the global management consulting services are as follows: increasing strategic partnership with market research firm, growth in technology, automations, increase online collaborations among stakeholders, increase in customer commoditizations of services, and growth in offshoring. These are five things that needs to be taken in concern. Again, I repeat, making your vendor an integral part of your partnership, strategic partnership with a market research firm, any vendor for that matter. Market research firm will tell you the nerve of the markets or the customer requirement. Growth in the automation of the technology, if possible, remove the human element altogether, and that means error free operation. Increase online collaboration with stakeholders. Have your presence in the social media. Take feedback and please take it with the right spirit. Increase in the commoditizations of services, expecting services, impeccable services every time, every single time that you incur. And yes, we are looking at growth in offshoring or outsourcing your jobs tasks thereby. So top five suppliers in global management consultants is PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers, Deloitte, McKinsey and Company, Boston Consultancy Group, Brain and Company. Well, looking at the current trends in the strategic management, let us look at the new external environment of business, the new direction in thinking, strategic thinking. We are looking into redesigning the organization and the changing role of managers. From managers, they are becoming more of a collaborator or a navigator at best. Now we are looking at new direction. It is the blue ocean strategy that we are looking into it, not at all shifting from the red ocean strategies to blue ocean, thinking out of the box, bringing up a new products development thereby. With this, I come to an end of this presentation. Thank you once more for watching this video till the very end.